In this episode, we are going to explore topics for the soul. This is all solo work that needs to be done ourselves. Let's heal, connect, and recharge our soul by diving deeper to embrace our fears, build self-compassion, practice mindfulness, and create that discovery connection from within.
Hello and welcome to Conversations with Zarine. During the next 45 minutes, you are invited to listen to leading wellness experts, influencers, brand builders, and entrepreneurs who will help you lead with light, build with love, and grow with gratitude. Their secret hacks that make life a better experience for us will be reconnoitered and brought to you by your host, who is a certified holistic health coach, a registered yoga teacher from the Yoga Alliance US, mother of 3, and a passionate DoTERRA wellness advocate. Her calling to help people and the community made her leave a 15-year engineering career and embrace the path of giving by creating wellness entrepreneurs. And now, here's your host, Zarine Bharda.
Hey lovelies, welcome to this month's podcast on the Soulful Solo Work. For this month, instead of interviewing someone else, I decided to do myself. Yes, I am going to solo it out over here. That's something we all need to do more of, self-love and the solo work, the soulful solo work. So let's get to it. If you're able to go grab a pen and pencil and a pad of paper, pause this and go do that. I will be sharing with you some amazing practices for you to start your solo work journey. Let's start with fear and actually understanding it. Fear, how many of us feel this? I don't think there is a day that goes by where one doesn't face fear. It's how you react to that fear is what determines the effect it has on your mind and soul. Fear can be shown in so many different forms. Today, we're going to talk about fear and finding the courage from that fear. Where once you find the courage from that fear, it can also help you find your purpose. For this, I ask you to listen to your soul, to go to your gut and take that leap to follow it. Say the mantra, I will be my own guide. I will be my own guide. I will be my own guide. So taking it back a step, how do you lean in and learn to trust yourself? How do you get out of that safe zone? I'm going to rewind you into my life and a bit about myself. I worked as an auto mechanical engineer for 15 years, 10 of them for the same company. What ended up pushing me and making me move past my fear was the necessity for self-worth. For me, this is what it looked like. Refusing a salary offer of 1/6 of my current salary while doing the same work I had been doing for the past 10 years. At this moment, I realized I am of no value to this company. I am just a number on their payroll and I am a workhorse. Wow, tell me about getting the wind knocked out of my sails, right? I hope you know what I did next. Handed in my resignation. This was me genuinely trusting myself and being brave enough to follow my truth. Yes, I was scared shitless that maybe I wasn't making the right decision, but I knew in my heart and soul I needed to embrace my fear of failing and falling on my own and realize that I once started from the ground up before and I would rise again. I will be my own guide, and this time following another one of my passions. As much as I loved engineering, my heartstrings had been tugging at me in another direction for a while, but I had just kept pushing them to the side and minimizing them and not committing it the time that it deserved. That brave move of handing in my resignation allowed me to overcome my fear and stand with my 2 feet firmly in the field of health, wellness, oils, holistic healing, and everything that connects our mind, body, and soul. This led me to my main work, where I empower women to take these leaps and make these changes in their lives. And yes, it entailed a lot of re-education and relearning and unlearning, but it was all worth it. So what I want you to take away from this is that even though there may be others that will support you in your life, where my family was a great support, but in the end, only you can be the brave one to take these tough calls. Make those leaps and be brave. Be brave. Listen to that little voice inside yourself. Don't give others the power of your heart, mind, and soul. Do your solo work. I ask each of you lovelies to write down your fears and write down how they are affecting your life. And then, beside each one, write what is one step you can take to overcome it. What is that one action that you can take in the face of fear? Does it feel right to you? Does it lighten your load? Does it let you rise? Don't try and box yourself into the convenient, conventional, and approved life. Do the soulful solo work to lean into your truth. My story had been about career. Yours may be about marriage, children, community, religion, whatever you think is your story. Let it be yours. What I want you to do is peel back the layers of that story. So how do we actually do that? By starting with self-compassion and building it. There is no right way to do it. So what I will do is facilitate how you can create your own way. I will guide you through the next steps on how you can build self-compassion. Self-compassion or self-love may be a foreign concept to some, but you are listening to this podcast for a reason. You want to build it for yourself. The Dalai Lama once said, "Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive." The meaning of that quotation is quite clear. We must cultivate that love and compassion in order to thrive, and only we can do that ourselves. It all starts within us. When you start placing judgment and limiting your belief about yourself, ask yourself this: how would you treat a friend? Would you motivate them to go after what they want? Would you remind them of all the positive attributes they have? Of course you would. So now think about the times you may have been in a similar situation. What have you told yourself? Was it something negative? So why the difference? What fears go through your mind that make you feel vulnerable? Write it down or take notice of it. Then go back and write down or think about something that is courageous from that same action. Notice how you feel. The more you keep addressing your vulnerabilities, you will realize that they are just opportunities to show courage. Your feelings are a big drive for your actions. Don't stay in the passenger seat of vulnerability. Be courageous and get in the driver's seat. Jump over. Do the work and build that reservoir of self-compassion, because when you do that, you are less likely to depend on others to validate your worth. Another practice I want each of you to do is to practice mindfulness of your emotions. Where earlier we had talked about vulnerability and having self-compassion towards yourself, the following two emotions are ones that will help you grow. The first one is the feeling of commitment. How many of us are uncomfortable with this? Does commitment feel like someone putting you in a box and closing the lid with the air slowly being drawn out? It doesn't have to be like that. Commitment is about the willingness to give your time and energy into something you want and believe in. And yes, it may not always feel good, but commitment also drives action. It can also help you be more mindful to your growth. Say, for example, you have a goal in mind. Intentionally commit to accomplishing it, whether it be not watching TV shows for a week, or going to the gym 5 days a week, or getting childcare a couple times a week. Set these non-negotiable practices for yourself so that they then become regular practices without the heavy burden. The second feeling is courage. This is something we need to keep practicing day in and day out, where sometimes we just need to disobey our emotions and allow ourselves to acknowledge the fear, but take the actions to move past it. Take, for example, when you think about the fear of failing, it is actually you understanding that this is something that is important to you, something that you should do. Journaling and communicating is a great way to open up and face your fears. The more you practice courage and braveness, the more and more it will grow in your life. I want you to write down 5 things that scare you, and then beside each one, write down how you will muster up the courage to tackle each one. It doesn't have to be immediately, but set a date for it. For example, asking someone out on a date. Understand what your fear is, whether it be rejection, loneliness, or something else, and be courageous to take that next step and validate yourself from within first. Now that you have understood how important active mindfulness is, let's find out how you can guide your soul to self-discovery. Self-discovery is not something that is going to happen overnight. It is a lifelong journey. It is all about the process. In each of our lives, we have different seasons, whether it be seasons of joy, seasons of trauma, or seasons of friendship. This is where self-discovery can take on many different forms, from noticing how your reaction to something can uncover your purpose in life, and your action to something can help you create a masterpiece. Getting to the point of self-discovery by doing the soulful work, the work that connects you with yourself. This takes time, this takes vulnerability, this takes commitment, and this takes courage. Try and move past the day-to-day tasks, the to-do lists, and go deeper within yourselves. Whether it be taking a walk in the park to practice your gratitude and mindfulness, or sitting down and journaling or meditation, find what works for you. By connecting with yourself, you will realize that all the wisdom you seek is already within. You just need to pull it out. Use your emotional intelligence to support you when you may be facing tough times, and have that growth mindset to reach for new challenges instead of avoiding them. These will be the guiding forces for your self-discovery. Write down 3 of your dreams that have not happened yet. This will help you reflect on what you have accomplished and also what possibilities are there for you to still accomplish. Remember that by embracing your fears and putting actions and practices to each of them over and over and over again, you are finding the courage to rise to a new you.
You've been listening to Conversations with Zarine. For show notes, episode guides, and resources, drop in at www.lifebyzarine.com. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest under Life by Zarine. Thank you and have a wonderful time.
Thank you for joining me on today's podcast where we worked on our soulful solo work. I hope each of you have enjoyed this episode. I'd love to hear your feedback as to how this may have impacted your life and how you are working on your own solo work. Until next time.